All right, good morning. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming down to the stage, and we're ready to proceed with our grand entry. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're sitting, please rise at the sound of the fiddle of Mr. Colton Bear, and I'll be announcing the names of our grand entry participants as they make their way down here. So, Colton, why don't you get everybody started? Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our grand entry is now proceeding, led by our fiddler, Colton Bear. Our veterans, Bernie Ouellette, Chesley Gordon, Chuck Isaac, Chuck Burney, Don Langford, George Pambrum, John McDonald, Keith Diacu, Paul Bercier, Wesley Kopp, Cyril Boucher, Chakota Browson. From the RCMP, Corporal Vern Hagen. Now the Métis Nation of Alberta Elders Council. Elder Angie Criere, Diane Ludwig, Doreen Burgum, Herb Anderson, and joining us up front, Mrs. Norma Spicer. Dignitaries. Audrey Putra, President, Métis Nation of Alberta. Dan Cardinal, Vice President, Métis Nation of Alberta. Cassidy Caron, Métis National Council, President. Melanie Omenaho, President, Lamichif Otapimsoak. Lisa Dawn Smith, President, Métis Nation, British Columbia. Margaret Froh, President, Métis Nation, Ontario. Rick Wilson, Minister of Indigenous Relations. Lorne Kaliski, Smoky Lake County Reeve. Amy Cherwinichin, Town of Smoky Lake Mayor. Métis Nation of Alberta Provincial Council. Alfred Larondel. Andrea Sandmeyer. Barry Dibb. Carol Ridsdale. Gary Gagnon. Hilda Lambert, Jason Eckberg, Joe Chodzicki, Judy Gentes, James Cardinal, Métis Nation of Alberta Youth Council, Hannah Nash, Brittany Christian, Rebecca Lavalle, Aurora Letty, Megan Claude, Nika Coutre, we also have Joy Sinclair from our transition committee as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our grand entry for today. Please give them a round of applause. Welcome to the 95th Annual General Assembly for the Métis Nation of Alberta. I'd like to ask that you please remain standing for the Métis Nation anthem.
was created, a new nation rose up strong. Hardship as its destiny, and its curse to not belong. In the land from which they came, in the land they helped to build, they found themselves the alien, found their vision unfulfilled. And despite their valiant effort to defend what they believed, when at last the battle ended, they were only left to grieve. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. From across the plain they traveled, from Red River to the Peace, looking for their own homeland that would help them to replace all the land that had been taken and the dreams that had been dashed. Their brave heroes now called traitors, and courageous deeds now past. But their spirit was not broken, and their dreams had never died. Their determination strengthened even while the people cried, as they waited for the battle that would end their years of pain, and the final bloodless battle when the nation rose again. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. For this newest generation and the future ones to come, with the past to motivate us, it will help to keep us strong. As we build the Métis nation, as we watch it rise again, our past losses motivation to inspire our future gain. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian.
Amazing anthem that truly tells the story of the Métis Nation. Up next, I'd like to ask you, please remain standing. I'd like to ask Norma Spicer, our knowledge keeper, to come up and bless us with an opening prayer.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Heavenly Father, we are deeply honored and proud as Métis people to witness the grand entry of our Color Guard, Elders, Provincial Council, National Council, Homeland Leadership, Women's Council, and respected dignitaries as we begin the opening ceremonies for our Métis Nation's annual General Assembly. Dear Lord, we also want to honor our Métis ancestors who created the principles of self-governance and developed a unique political and legal culture with strong democratic traditions for our Métis people. Our leadership today continues their journey. We now have our own constitution and soon the federal ratification of our Otipimsoak government. We ask for your blessings, dear Lord, for all those who are assembled here today. May your love guide our interactions and shape our relationships, not only within our gathering, but also with friends, neighbors, and strangers, allowing love to permeate every aspect of our daily living. For in love we find unity, strength, and the power to transform lives. Let us place our trust in you, now and forever. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We're gathered for the 95th Annual Assembly of the Métis Nation of Alberta. And we have some amazing dignitaries to provide remarks to us this morning. Up first, I'd like to ask Métis National President Cassidy Caron to come to the stage and provide some remarks.
Thanks, Aaron. Tansei Kioao, good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here, to see all your smiling faces, to have the sun come out today so that we can enjoy the morning outside before we get to the business of the Métis Nation of Alberta. It's just such a beautiful day, and I'm so happy to be here. Before I begin, I want to, of course, thank Elder Norma for your prayer this morning and the prayers that you've provided for the past few days, and making sure that we're starting our days off in a really good way and reminding us of how far we've come, reminding us that there is strength in unity. I love that you brought that forward because there is so much strength in unity, so thank you for that. I want to thank our veterans in the color guard this morning. I want to thank Colton for the fiddle music this morning. Thank you to the elected leadership who's here, all of the youth, the M&A citizens, all of you for being here today. For those of you who I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, I look forward to spending some time and visiting with you. My name is Cassidy Caron. I'm the president of the Métis National Council. I have a lot of family here. This is wonderful. My family comes from the historic Métis communities of Batoche and St. Louis, Saskatchewan, from the banks of the South Saskatchewan River, the river that meets up with this river behind us, the North Saskatchewan River, just past where my grandma's family settled. And these rivers undoubtedly were the highways of our people in the past. They were the highways of our ancestors, and they connected our people across the homeland. So it's wonderful to be here on this beautiful setting of the North Saskatchewan River. I want to thank the Provincial Council, President Poitras, Vice President Cardinal, for having me at the 95th Annual General Assembly for the Métis Nation of Alberta. I say this every year, but I always appreciate coming to this event, coming to witness history every single year, to visit with M&A citizens and learn so many of the many stories of our one Métis Nation, to spend time with friends, to meet relatives, some who I had the chance to meet just yesterday, and I look forward to meeting more relatives throughout the weekend, and to have a chance just to visit, because we're always more connected than we even know. I'm honored to continue that work of connecting our people, doing the work at the Métis National Council to bring our Métis people together and to find our common goals, our common struggles, our common priorities, and together help push the Métis Nation forward as a one Métis Nation at the national and international level. The Métis Nation has taken some really, really incredible steps forward in the last generations, in the last number of generations. Sometimes we're inching towards the vision of our ancestors, but other times we're leaping towards achieving the visions of our ancestors. But of course, we still have a lot of work to do, and we must continue to do so in unity, as our elder said this morning, working together as one Métis Nation. And I want to take this time to congratulate the Métis Nation of Alberta on your 95 years, on the incredible progress that you've made in that time, and the most recent progress that you have made towards self-government. Congratulations, you're making huge steps forward. But of course, there's so much more work to be done, and I want you to know that the Métis National Council is here to help you with that work. It's an honor to be the president of the MNC, but it's even more so an honor to get to do this work with the support and guidance from my board of directors, from our governing members, of course with the MNA at my side, and most importantly, to have your president, President Poitras, sitting on our board of directors, guiding the work that we're doing at the national level. As a young Métis woman in leadership, it's people like President Poitras who have helped pave the way for people like me to be in this position, to participate so meaningfully in nation building. And after 27 years as president of the MNA, and some of that time even serving as interim president of the Métis National Council, President Poitras, your contributions to the Métis Nation are immeasurable. But I want to wish you the best in your retirement, and thank you so much for your dedication and your service to the Métis Nation. With that, I want to thank all MNA citizens for being here today, for those of you who might be joining online, and for all that you are doing to contribute to the Métis Nation. It is an absolutely incredible time to be Métis, and I cannot wait to see where we go from here, working together for the Métis Nation. Have a great AGA, everyone. Thank you, and I love you all.
All right, I would now like to ask Melanie O'Menahu, the president of the La Femme Michif Otapimsoak. I'm trying. I usually just say the National Women's Organization, but I tried today.
Good morning, everybody. And he is trying. He used to have a challenging time saying my last name, and then we found an organizational name that's challenging him as well. I am the president of La Femme Michif Otapimsoak, and I thank you for inviting me here to bring greetings to an amazing assembly. I am really, really proud to be a member of the Métis Nation of Alberta. I'm really, really proud at the lengths and strengths that have been demonstrated through all the work that so many of you have been a part of. And I'm really happy to be here at this very historical assembly. And Ashley, I just wanted, just for some fun, let you know that how well our veterans take care of us. They just passed our president some Métis Kleenex, a small roll of toilet paper to help her as we just honored her. So anyway, I thank Norma for her prayers this morning. I thank the veterans for bringing in the color guard for us and always standing with us and making us really, really proud of who we are. And I really appreciate the opportunity for all of you to come here today, be a part of the business of the Métis Nation of Alberta, and help move the Métis Nation forward in an honorable way. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Up next, I'd like to ask the President of the Métis Nation of Ontario, Margaret Froh, to bring some remarks. Big round of applause.
Tanshi kia matin. How's everybody this morning? I want to start by acknowledging Elder Norma. and thanking her for the beautiful opening prayer yet again. And to all of the elders that are here and that are in our communities every day doing this hard work, I want to say a very heartfelt merci for all of that. And of course, to thank our veterans, to acknowledge the honor guard, the toilet paper, and for your service, for always being here in support of our nation. I want to also thank Colton for the fiddle, and it's always so important to have our music represented, and we had a beautiful night last night of fish, delicious fish. I even got some gluten-free delicious fish, but music and dancing, and we've had a beautiful start to this year's M&A Annual General Assembly. I want, of course, to thank President Patra and Vice President Cardinal, the entire Provincial Council, for the very kind invitation to be here with you all this morning and to get this assembly started in a really good way. Thank you. Merci for that. It is our honor to be here. To all of the Métis who are here today, whether you're in a leadership position, you're a citizen that's out there living your life every day, to the kids that are here, to the young people that are here, I want to say, and of course to our staff as well, here in Alberta, but right across the Métis Nation, who work really hard every day to make lives better for our people. I want to say thank you, merci, for being here, for being a part of your democracy, to be a part of this government that you have built and that you are continuing to advance here in Alberta. The Creator has indeed sent sun to greet us here this morning. I was telling some folks I didn't bring any warm clothes or even shoes, because whenever I come to the Métis Crossing, it is sunny and warm and full of family and friends, and while my feet have been cold, my heart has been very warm to be with all of you. We had some excellent reports yesterday, and it's so exciting to see the work that's been done, and I really want to acknowledge all of that work here, including your transition committee, your laws group, for the work that they're doing, because we are just behind you in that process. We have been very proud and honored to be working alongside the Métis Nation of Alberta in negotiating those self-government agreements, not one but two, in negotiating that and co-developing that legislation that we've talked about, in getting us, securing for the Métis Nation and Métis Nation of Alberta and MNO and others, a commitment to enter into treaty, a modern self-government treaty for our people. We have made astounding gains over the last 95 years for the M&A, but just over the last 6 years, it's really astounding how much progress we have made. And that's because of the hard work and the leadership at the local level, right across all of your regions, across the provincial council level, right across the Métis Nation. I want to acknowledge our national president for all the work that's happening across the Métis Nation to make this a reality. We are truly realizing the dreams of our ancestors, and that doesn't happen by happenstance. It's hard work, it's determination, it's grit, and it's stubbornness, which I think we own in our DNA as Métis people. So many huge advances, so much great work. Proud to be with you. And on behalf of the Métis Nation of Ontario, we've got some of our citizens and our leadership here. On behalf of all of us, I want to say congratulations, President Patra, Métis Nation of Alberta, on another incredible and a successful year for the M&A. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. And I'll just share a little bit of insider information on one of the things it takes to get federal legislation introduced. Métis Nation of Alberta, Métis Nation Ontario, Métis Nation Saskatchewan, but with us today leading MNO and M&A President Fro, President Patra. The work leading up to getting C-53 introduced, just one stat, and I think it must be a record. Audrey and Margaret had 143 meetings in the month leading up to that being introduced. From the Prime Minister, to cabinet ministers, to members of parliament, to committees, anybody, senators, and anybody in between. It was absolutely remarkable. and they got it introduced. And I'm really, really grateful, thankful for the work that the two of you did to do that on behalf of the citizens of the Métis Nation. So, ladies and gentlemen, just maybe one big round of applause on that. You'll see in the self-government tent, they're handing out the C-53 T-shirts, and those were made intentionally to be big and bold C-53, and they came with a little postcard because we want people to talk about it, and we want people to know this doesn't take away anything from anybody. This is about recognition, and recognition of our citizens, our history, and the future. So thank you very much for that. Up next, I'd like to ask the President of the Métis Nation, British Columbia, Lisa Dawn Smith, to bring some remarks. Thank you.
I think Aaron and Margaret are a little bit taller than I am, and that's okay. Good morning, everybody, and it's so wonderful to be here. I really want to thank Métis Nation of Alberta and their cabinet for inviting me to be here today and provide some greetings on behalf of Métis Nation BC. I want to thank Elder Norma for her beautiful prayer. I just love hearing you when you do the prayers, and I feel like you know we're family now. I'm feeling like I'm really getting to know you through your prayer. So thank you so much. To our veterans, thank you so much. And I always acknowledge the veterans. I have the highest respect for all of our veterans, you know, past, present, and future. And I just want to thank you for your service for our freedom and for doing the duties of the flag party, of course, but mainly for your service at providing freedom for all of us. So thank you so much. Thank you for that. I do get a bit teary-eyed when I speak about veterans at times. So, all M&A citizens, you should be very, very proud of Métis Nation of Alberta 95th Annual General Assembly. That's just incredible. You know, we at Métis Nation BC are a lot younger of a nation, but when I think about the history here, and especially with what's been built here, I just love coming here. This is just such a showpiece for Métis across Canada, not just for Alberta. It's definitely a showpiece, and so many people are talking about it. I see advertising about it. I hear about it all the time in the news, and it's really becoming the place to go. So you should be very, very proud of this, what everybody has done here, working together to make this happen, become a reality. I just want to acknowledge I traveled here with our CEO, Colette Trudeau. Our Vice President, Walter Minot, is also in attendance. So thank you both for coming and representing Métis Nation BC. But on behalf of our Board of Directors, I'd like to wish you a very successful 2023 General Assembly. Métis Nation BC is firmly committed to our efforts as the government for Métis people in British Columbia and as a governing member of the Métis National Council to achieve full recognition of our inherent rights. We also actively seek to engage in respectful dialogue with First Nations in BC to uphold their inherent rights and treaty rights and work collectively on shared challenges, inequities, and priorities to uplift all Indigenous people in British Columbia. Our citizens are at the heart of everything we do, and I'm pleased to say that MNBC now represents 24,000 registered citizens. This number points to a growing pride in our nation. Aaron, do you want to take this? You okay? No. Okay, thank you. It is a bit windy. We're committed to expanding services across culturally distinct programs and services in housing, health, education, skills training, language and culture, and childcare. Sadly, in British Columbia, currently we have the most children in care than any other Indigenous nation in British Columbia. So the majority of Indigenous children in care in British Columbia are Métis, and it's a very sad fact. We are actively pursuing Indigenous governing body status through Indigenous Services Canada to secure our jurisdiction over our children in care, so they can be safely raised in their culture, especially during their formative years. We have a strong case and are optimistic for a positive outcome. We still have a lot of work to do, as we all do across the National Council, and our national president commented on that as well. There's always a lot of work to do. We're moving forward toward reconciliation agreement with our province right now. Achieving self-government agreement with Canada remains a long-term challenge. Our team is making frequent trips to both Victoria and Ottawa to continue pushing these priorities with elected officials and staff. The Métis Nation is growing stronger, whether in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, or Ontario. Milestones and successes achieved by other governing members lifts us all up as a collective. There will be bumps in the road ahead, but we must move forward together to achieve self-determination as a united people. And Audrey, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you. I've known you for many years now. I haven't been around as long as you, but I've been around Métis starting at the community level. It's getting close to 20 years that I've been around, so thank you for just commend you, and just hope you can retire. I don't know how you're going to do it, to stop doing everything you've been doing for 27 years, but I do wish you all the best, and thank you for your service to your nation and to the National Council as well. So I just wish you all a smooth and productive General Assembly and a heartfelt miigwech to all of you. Sorry, just want to make sure I don't take your papers. Okay, thanks, sir. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
At least I didn't get that microphone.
Thank you. Thank you, President Smith. Up next, I'd like to ask the Minister of Indigenous Relations, Rick Wilson, to come and bring some remarks.
Thanks, Aaron, for the introduction. Thanks, Norma, for starting us off with a prayer. It truly is a beautiful day to bask in the light of the Lord. A girl said to me that this morning, and I thought, wow, how fitting is that? And I got here and I thought, you just touched my heart, so thank you so much for that. Thank you. Respected elders, President Poitras, councillors, members, delegates, distinguished guests, our veterans, thank you all for joining us here today. So I'm pleased to bring you greetings on behalf of our new Premier Daniel Smith and my government colleagues. It's wonderful to be at Métis Crossing and to acknowledge the Métis people's deep connection with this land. Last time I was here, they were just putting the foundation in for the hotel, and I was able to help with some funding for that, so I'm really excited to take a tour again and see all the great things that have happened here. This is such an important gathering place, and what an amazing backdrop. It showcases the history of proud people and the Métis Nation of Alberta. Long before Alberta became a province, the Métis gathered on this land to raise their families and to trade goods. And through vision and a deep sense of pride in your history, you've built a cultural center that brings this important history to life. This is such an important thread of Alberta's history, and what a fitting place for location for today's important gathering. So I'm honored to join all of you here for the I can't believe this, 95th anniversary of the Annual General Assembly of the Nation of Alberta. I want to congratulate you on your 95-year milestone and the many accomplishments over those years. As the population of the Métis people in Alberta continues to grow, now at more than 127,000, the Métis Nation of Alberta remains a committed advocate and a strong voice to advance the Métis way of life. I'm just a wannabe Métis, but half my family is Métis. So I've got, what have I got? I got 2 nieces, 4 nephews, 2 daughter-in-laws, and 3 grandchildren. So I'm very excited to be part of this event today. Thank you. And to the many MNA staff and the volunteers who have worked so hard to make this assembly happen. I've made so many good friends over the years with Aaron and Dan and all the members. It's always a pleasure to join you here today. So I also want to congratulate President Poitras on your recently announced retirement. As the first woman to be elected president of a provincial Métis organization, you've had a distinguished career. And let me tell you, she holds my feet to the fire. Yes. She actually scares me a little. So yes. Serving the Métis community in Alberta for the past 27 years. What a great career. From renewing the MNA's framework agreement with the Alberta government, to establishing a citizenship registry, Rupert's Land Institute, and of course the beautiful Métis Crossing. Your accomplishments have been many. I wish you all the best in your upcoming adventures. So congratulations. I stole Aaron's helper now. Where's Kaylee? Give him a wave. So if you're gonna get a hold of me, you got to go through Kaylee now. So she's she's my Métis connection here. So maybe Audrey can come be my consultant or something. So today's gathering is important. It allows us to come together and explore new ways to work together. It's an opportunity to honor your culture, your traditions, and celebrate the many accomplishments that you've had. I can tell you Alberta's government is committed to working alongside the Métis Nation of Alberta to be sure that their members enjoy the same social, economic opportunities as everyone else in the province. Advancing the lives of Métis people in Alberta in real and meaningful ways is at the heart of our 10-year framework agreement. Under this agreement, we continue to work together to define and to clarify our relationship. And this year, I was very pleased that we were able to increase our funding once again to the M&A to $1.8 million. Thank you. I think I'd have got spanked if I didn't do that. Métis people also have a long entrepreneurial history in Alberta. And I know you're keen to be involved in economic development, including big projects. Part of my new mandate as the Minister of Indigenous Relations is to expand the mandate of the Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation. It's all about removing financial barriers and generating wealth, and wealth that will benefit Métis people in the province. So we started off with $1 billion backstop for Indigenous and Métis people. I've just about put that $1 billion out the door. By the end of summer, it's going to be gone. So I'm going to be going back to Treasury, and with the help of the Premier, we're going for an additional $2 billion. Yes. I've also been looking to expand the types of projects that are eligible for the AOC to include things like tourism, like you've got here, healthcare, and manufacturing. One of the first things I started, I was really keen on tourism. I used to have a tourism operation, and so I wanted to develop like an Indigenous Métis corridor throughout the province. And this is going to be one of the highlights of that. It's it's right in Alberta Tourism. We've got our own Indigenous tourism branch now that I started, and now it's going to be included with Alberta Tourism. So all across not only Canada but around the world, this place is going to be highlighted. Yes. We've also, on the AOC, we started out with oil and gas. Of course, Alberta's famous for that. And now we've expanded it to agriculture, forestry, tourism, broadband, transportation. So there's a lot of new areas where we can look at working together with Indigenous and Métis people all across Alberta. As traders and interpreters, you played a significant role in the commerce of this land, and your ancestors helped build this province. So along with what you're doing here, I wanted to create a place where the Indigenous and Métis people, right at the legislature, have a place where they can start that journey of hope and healing. So I started a reconciliation garden right on the legislature grounds, and we're really expanding it this year. So I'm going to be putting out an invitation around the end of August, and I'm hoping a lot of you can join me there. I don't know if you know Stuart Steinhauer from up at Stadel Lake. He does those giant granite carvings that you see around the province, the giant bears and what have you. And so he was the one that won the award to to do the monument for this garden. And this is going to tear me up. So he hadn't put in an RFP for the monument, and it was one day left to go. Yeah, there's some Métis Kleenex right there. You guys are right. So I called him up the day before it closed. I said, Stuart, aren't you going to put in a RFP on this monument? I'd really like you to have a shot at it. And he said, well, I was just waiting for you to call me, Minister. I said, well, it doesn't work like that. He says, well, you came to me in a vision a year ago and asked me to build it. So I've already built it. I said, what? So I stopped it. I was up at Fort McMurray, so I stopped at his place on the way back, and there was a little kid there. I says, do you know where Stuart Steinhauer's place is? He says, just go to where you find all the rocks and stop in there. Sure enough, and this is no small monument. This is 12 feet high, 22,000 pounds of solid granite. And he's carved, he calls it Mother Earth circling. So it's Mother Earth holding a little child. And it's got a big Métis symbol on the bottom of it. Yes. And that's going to be the start of our reconciliation garden. You'll walk past that down a sidewalk with little kids' footprints on it. So it's going to be a really great place, and it's a spot for you to come to and call your own, just like this. So right at the legislative grounds, you're going to have a spot where you can come and, like I say, where we can work together on that journey. So I'm really excited about that. And if I could just ask Audrey to come up here, I have a couple of little goodies for her. Yeah, they say she's going to need a wheelbarrow, and she will. So first, I have a gift. It's for everybody here. It's for the MNA. And this is to celebrate your 95th anniversary. And what a great gift this is. What a beautiful painting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you.
And because President Patre has done so much work, I wanted a special gift just for her. So I got her a tufting here. So this is for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Right on.
I also wanted to get her something that she can keep as a memory of what she's done. So I had a certificate made of achievement, and it's to Audrey Poitret on behalf of the Government of Alberta. Thank you for your strong leadership with the Métis Nation of Alberta over the past 27 years. Your passion for the community, advocacy, and commitment to excellence have been great assets to the Métis and to the province. So here's a certificate on behalf of the province. Yes.
Thank you very much, Minister. Where are you? Where are you?
Always right behind
And
you.
I have something for you. You know, when the Métis were included in the Constitution in Canada in 1982, I remember all the excitement. Finally, recognition is here. But we know that's a long time ago. And it took a lot. And so we've published a book about what could have happened, what should have happened, what did happen. And based on government doing some things, Métis Nation itself, our citizens, pushing leadership all those years to continue standing up for what they believed in and doing what needed to be done. So I'd like to present you with a copy of our book today. Thank you.
Can I show them?
Yes, yes, you can.
How do we open it up? You got to give us a minute, Aaron. Did you sign it?
It's signed.
It's signed too. Oh, let me see.
Signed by the authors.
Okay.
Not sure if it's me, but They're the authors. There you go.
Oh, wow.
And there's a little note from me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. What's that? Yeah, you can.
Thank you very much, Minister Wilson. Up next, I'd like to invite the Smoky Lake County Reeve, Lauren Haliski.
Well, good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day it is, in fact, indeed. Thank you for that warm welcome. Welcome elders, officials, dignitaries, special guests, and our veterans and police and those folks that serve us. Your service is just very important to all of us. So thank you for being here for a part of this assembly today. And welcome everybody to the Métis Nation of Alberta's 95th Annual General Assembly. Wow, 95 years. 5 more years and you're going to have a 100-year centennial. That'll be awesome. So on behalf of the Smoky Lake County, our council, and our residents, I'm honored and it's my privilege to be invited here today to bring greetings. Smoky Lake County is proud to have Métis Crossing nestled in these historic and beautiful banks of the North Saskatchewan River in our great county. Just as the Métis are an integral part of the political, social, and cultural landscape of our province and country, so too is this wonderful facility part of the fabric of our social, cultural, and geographical landscape of the Smoky Lake County. It is very fitting that your work and deliberations take place on this historical land with family, friends, and neighbors that celebrate the value that we share, the history, the beautiful countryside. If more global leaders work together in grassroots, local atmospheres such as this, the world would be a much better place for all of us. It is with great honor to have the 95th Annual General Assembly of the Métis Nation of Alberta, held here at Métis Crossing. On behalf of the Council, the citizens of the Smoky Lake County, we thank you and we wish you productive deliberations at this Annual General Assembly and every success in your many endeavors. And I also wanted to formally, Audrey, every time I see her, she gives me a hug. The short time that I knew Audrey, what a wonderful person to work with. It was the relationship that we built, the partnership, working together to build this establishment here. It was a lot of work, like everybody else said, and you know what, you'll never be forgotten. That's a guarantee. What a wonderful person. So let's give her another round of applause. And you don't have to have an excuse to knock on my door anytime. Now I know where you live too, in Cold Lake, so you're close. So, so best wishes again to everybody here. Take care and God bless.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to ask Amy Cherwinichin, the Mayor of Smoky Lake.
Good morning, members of the Métis Nation of Alberta. Provincial President Audrey Putra and Vice President Dan Cardinal. The regional presidents, vice presidents, and honorable guests. On behalf of the town of Smoky Lake, I'm honored to welcome you to our community. We are excited to be partnering with the Métis Crossing Ventures and the county in the journey of the Tourism Corporation. The Métis have a strong history in our community. Buried in the Victoria Park Cemetery just up the hill, imagine the proud smile on Magnus Cromity's face as he overlooks this beautiful gathering place that you've created on his river lot. Magnus and Anne Frances Cromarty settled this river lot and have a prominent history. He was a progressive farmer, having one of the first steam thrashing units in our area. He was a good neighbor with a good heart. The Esopanko sisters of the Pecan Orthodox Church remember how he fixed their broken horse cart on the Victoria Trail just outside this gathering place. It was common for the big boys to hitch a ride on the back of their cart, but this time the extra weight was just too much. The Cromedy Barn was the foundation of our community for future generations. Many couples met at the Cromedy Barn dances. The town of Smoky Lake is proud to support a strong Métis nation. Again, welcome to our community and congratulations on your 95 years.
Next, I'd like to ask Métis Nation of Alberta Provincial Vice President Dan Cardinal to come up and say a few remarks.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you to our elder, Norma Spicer, for the prayer. Thank you to our veterans. Thank you to President Patra for your 27 years of the work you have done for the Métis Nation, for our citizens. And I want to say thank you to Cassidy Caron for the work she is doing. President Margaret Froh, Lisa Smith, and President Melanie Omenuhu. I have to say, as your Vice President, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve you, the citizens of the MNA. It has been a privilege and an honor to work alongside President Audrey Patra and to Provincial Council. Some of yous I'm related to. Some of yous we've become friends. I made a new brother, Gary Gagnon. But to you, the citizens of the MNA, thank you for being here with us for our 95th Annual General Assembly. Merci de toi. Thank you. And it is great to see you here today as we move forward and transition from our citizenship from Métis Nation of Alberta to the Otipemisiwak Métis government. It is a historical moment, and I am proud to be a part of this history. And now, as always, for those elders who always want to hear this, I thank God that I can speak this language, my first tongue. Anuskagi saga kahkio kananaskum tinawaw o tepetek siniek, oma kawaskona makasigatek o tepemsuak Métis government. Kahkio kanigani chekaisinoak nanaskumawak. Cassidy Caron, Elgo Mamo Chekani Ganit, Omote Ottawa Kasigatek. Egwa, Margaret Froh, Elgo, Ontario Tuchtel. Lisa Smith, Elgo, BC Tuchtel. Egwa Kiano Kani Ganit, Swo, Audrey Patra. Kewem Stahe Atoskeo, Kianoche. Kapmuhtat government Kasigatek Otepemsuak. Kianoeus. Kitipemsuno, Kawitamoagek Uge Kaniganichik, Tabskota wa Rick Wilson. Kawitamoagek, Pogo, Kawichi, Uma Kawaskonama, Pogo Kiawa, Kamiya Sunyao, Kawich Hayagek, Taisinimak. Mercy, Kahkio Kananaskum Tanawao.
Okay, I would like to ask Garrett Tomlinson, citizen of the Métis Nation of Alberta. He's also our Senior Director of Self-Government, to come up and pay a very, very special tribute to Bruce Gladue. For those of you that don't know, we lost Bruce. And Bruce was an amazing chairman. He would chair these meetings, we'd get out, we'd get everything done. And he was a staunch Métis nationalist. And you know, he's there, he's gone, but he's watching us, he's with us today, and he'll make sure we finish by the end of the day today, Audrey. Can we, Garrett Tomlinson here. Thanks.
I'm not going to lie, this is going to be pretty tough for me to get through. I had the pleasure of being a friend of Bruce Gladue's for most of my adult life, more than 20 years for sure. Before I came to the MNA, I knew Bruce when he was with the AER. He's a friend of my family and my community in Lubicon. And when I came to work for the MNA, I was glad to call him a colleague and a mentor. However, the words I'm gonna speak today were put together by a lot of people, mostly because I couldn't write them all on my own. So I want to thank Lauren Gladue and Vice President of Region 2, Andrea Sandmeyer, for assisting with this, as well as Lauren Nielsen for helping put these words together. So Bruce Gladue became involved with Local 1885 under MNA Region 4 when he was in his early 20s. As an impressionable youth, Bruce was indoctrinated into the Métis Nation's politics, where he was mentored and heavily influenced by the local's founding members, including Gordon Poitras, Bill Hino, and Stan Plante, each of whom were very active with the Métis Nation agenda of the 1980s and 1990s. Local 1885 was a very active local, both socially and politically, and it operated under the realm of President Sam Sinclair and Larry DeMille at that time. It was an exciting time, especially for the youth who were involved like Bruce in those years, because Canada was going through transformative changes of its own. The Métis Nation in Canada was at the negotiating table with the senior Trudeau government in the constitutional talks leading to the patriation of the 1982 Canadian Constitution. Harry Daniels and Jim Sinclair were eminent figures of the Métis Nation during the nerve-wracking period of the First Minister's conferences on Aboriginal rights in the mid-1980s. These were the figures of Métis leadership that impressed upon the youth of the Métis Nation, just like Bruce. Indeed, Section 35 was the start of a new era for Métis politics in the 1980s. The constitutional talks led to national accords like Meech Lake and the Charlottetown Accord, which looked very promising for Métis people because it recognized the inherent right of Aboriginal peoples under Canada's gathering strength policy. However, once the report from the Royal Commission was tabled, the Charlottetown Accord had graced the political landscape. The federal government launched the Inherent Rights Policy. And this is where the MNA negotiated a tripartite process agreement in 1992. And that's when Bruce came to work in his early 30s, when he became our colleague at the MNA. Aside from his contributions under the tripartite process agreement, Bruce's main interests at work never strayed far from the Métis rights agenda. Even when he was not employed at the MNA, whether he worked at the ERCB or the AER as it became, he still found a way to make his contribution. He would chair our annual general meetings, the MNA regional or provincial assemblies, and he served on the Board of Governors at Rupert's Land Institute. Bruce was passionate and bold in his approach, which often intimidated his adversaries. When faced with issues of discrimination, Bruce would get fired up and let people know they needed to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Bruce had a passionate affinity for social justice. When the tragic murders of Jake Sansom and Morris Cardinal happened, Bruce, along with the Vice President of Region 2, Andrea Sandmeyer, stepped forward immediately to advocate for the family of Jake and Morris. He supported them at court, spearheaded a fundraiser and attended rallies and community meetings with the family. Jake and Morris's family will forever be grateful for the comfort and support that Bruce gave them. They all send their sincere condolences to Bruce's family and friends. This past summer, we lost a wonderful elder, Francis Dumais, and Bruce knew how valued Francis was to our community, and he honored Francis by coming to his funeral service, which was just another example of his dedication to our Métis community. One of my fondest memories of Bruce was him asking me if I was available to come and help deliver firewood to our elders so that they could heat their homes in the winter. In the words of Vice President Sandmeyer, she sent condolences to Bruce's family and said Bruce was also a great support to her, always encouraging and always kind. She said, "I know that Bruce calling me kiddo was not exclusive to me. It was a term of endearment for all who he held dear, and she'll miss forever hearing 'Take care, kiddo,' just like the rest of us." The M&A, we're going to miss Bruce's contributions. He felt most comfortable at our meetings and assemblies. One of his greatest contributions was his ability to chair our Métis Nation annual assemblies, and he likely chaired more than a dozen along the way. I'm sure he would tell you that one of his greatest pleasures was to chair the M&A assembly in Calgary last year, where he endured a lot of stress from the floor and a lot of stomach pain from his illness. But he managed to successfully chair that meeting, leading to the ratification of our Métis Constitution. Most Métis citizens were thrilled with joy at the end of that meeting. And I'm sure he left that meeting as a proud Métis citizen and prouder than he had ever been, given that the work accomplished and the work ahead was everything he had dreamed of. The Métis Nation of Alberta is a very complex workplace, whether you're an elected official or a staff member. Bruce understood the depth and complexities of all of them. He held a spatial distance in terms of his understanding of things, and he had far-reaching ideas on where we needed to go under a self-government model. While the M&A may very well reach and implement some of those ideas, it's unfortunate that he won't be here to celebrate them. But I'm sure he's up there holding a thumbs up and telling us to stay gold, kiddo. And I know he's here today because that sign must have hit Aaron in the head at least 3 times. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That concludes the opening ceremony. I'd like to invite our guests to follow our fiddler and our... Oh, I thought you were talking inside. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some opening remarks prior to the meeting being opened up inside from our wonderful president, Madame Audrey Poitras. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause.
Wow. I don't know what we're going to have to do with some of these people. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 95th Annual Assembly of the Métis Nation of Alberta. On behalf of all of our provincial council that are sitting down there, our elders, our veterans, and all of you, welcome to this annual assembly. I too want to start by thanking Norma Spicer. You know, Norma has been amazing in writing the prayers, and just as was said by others, they are so meaningful, Norma. I really, really thank you for all of that. And one of the things that Norma and I have talked about is publishing a Métis Book of Prayers. Norma, I'm so pleased that you're agreeing to do that. Thank you. I also, when I watched that video that's played, you know, some of those pictures are from when we first began. My first time, 27 years ago. A lot of those people aren't with us any longer. But most of those people had a major effect on what we've done to get here today. So it reminds me every time we play that video. I want to say a great big thank you to Métis National Council, President Cassidy Caron, the Board of Governors, and the president of La Femme Machif, Otipimsawak. I think I got it right this time, Melanie. We always stumble on that. But I want to just say that it's had its moments at Métis National Council. Some good, some not so good. But over this last couple years, Cassidy, I want to say you have made so many strides forward and brought our nation back to the credibility it deserves. So Board of Governors and Cassidy, thank you very, very much. Veterans, yes, Jack, thank you very much for the roll of toilet paper. But you know, I want to say thank you to all of our veterans. Over the years, all of these people sitting in front of us have just done amazing work. All we have to do is say, we're going to do something, and they're there to help us. And I really want to say, it's certainly been a pleasure knowing all of you. Thank you very, very much. And Minister Wilson. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, thank you. And Minister Wilson, you know, when we think about this place, Métis Crossing, our people have had a dream forever. I heard it all my life. And I'm so, so happy that when the government of Alberta was celebrating in 2005 and created the Centennial Legacy Fund, of course we wanted to be part of it, and we are so thankful they helped us start the beginnings of this place. And since that time, I want to say, yes, we really also appreciated the contribution towards the lodge as well, and more recently, the increase in our core funding, because sometimes it takes a long time to develop true partnerships. And I really, really appreciate all the work that we've been able to do together, and I hope that there will be a lot more in the future for the Métis Nation. Thank you. And our partners from Smoky Lake, Mayor Amy and Reeve Lauren. I was going to call him Lawrence. Lauren. Okay, okay. I just want to say, you know, I think when anybody starts some dream, some project, you know you're never going to do it alone. It's about partnerships. It's about doing it together. And we could not have found better partners than the town of Smoky Lake and the Smoky Lake County. They have just been amazing. Whether it's from simply coming out to every event we ever have and being there as true partners, or working with us on projects. I know you've heard, some of you that were here yesterday, you heard about our major solar project up in the north of our property. Smoky Lake played a huge, huge part in making that happen. And yes, it's going to benefit us, the Métis Nation, but it's also going to benefit this community. And that's what it's all about. So thank you both very, very much. And VP Dan Cardinal, I'm not sure what he said when he spoke his language. Maybe I shouldn't even say anything. He might have said something wrong. It's okay? Okay. See, Jack isn't just a veteran with toilet paper. He helps me with... But Dan, I want to just say thank you very much for our 5 years of working together. It has been a pleasure. I think we've accomplished lots more than I know I could have if I didn't have a vice president that was willing to work and run that way when I ran that way. So thank you very, very much for all of your 5 years that we've worked together and all the other times that I've known you, and certainly with your knowledge of the languages has been a huge benefit to our Métis Nation. Thank you. And Garrett, You did an amazing tribute to Bruce Gladue. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for that, Garrett. You know, because I'm so old, Bruce Gladue was 17 years old when I first met him. He was in that local. And Bruce was a go-getter then. He wanted to keep up to the big boys, as he told us. And he certainly did. When Bruce put his mind to something, he did it. And it was an honor knowing Bruce. Like everything else we do, or I should say I do, and the stubborn person I am, Bruce and I had our moments as well. But you know what? I think that only always makes us stronger and makes us work harder for what we really truly believe in and figure out ways that we can all make it work together. So to me, Bruce was such an amazing citizen of the Métis Nation, and I know he taught a lot to our citizens, our young people, and Bruce, we will miss you, especially today and days like this. And lastly, I just want to say thank you for all for the kind words on my retirement. I'm not kind of sure whether it's congratulations, get out of here, leave us alone now and let us do. Quit hounding us. No, I'm just joking. It truly has been a pleasure for 27 years. Yes, there's been lots of challenges, but over the years, I know I can look back and see a lot of what has helped our people. And it's because, in my own way, I've been able to find friends and colleagues and partners who were willing to say, let's make it work. Let's make it work. It's not about us. It's about the people out there that need help. So I look forward to just sitting way over there and watching what's going on, because I know there will be a lot more going on and a lot more benefits for our people in the future. So thank you very much, and we'll all enjoy our assembly today. Thank you.
Sorry, I thought you were going inside. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for those welcoming remarks, President Patra. We're going to head inside and we're going to go with our following the fiddler and the color guard. But before we do, because I have a microphone in my hand and I kind of botched the intro there. But Audrey, just again, thank you so much on behalf of whoever I'm speaking for up here, myself, all of our citizens, my family. Thank you very much. You're hard pressed to meet a citizen of the Métis Nation in Alberta who hasn't been part of the journey that you've been on for the last 27 years, whether that's education, whether that's rights-based, whether that's, having a wonderful place like Métis Crossing to call our own. Thank you very much. And I can't even begin to describe, because I see it day in, day out, no days off, long, long hours that Audrey truly puts in to the nation. It's unmatched. It'll never be matched. And we wouldn't be where we are today without you, Audrey. So thank you very much. And with that, where's Colton and the color guard? Ladies and gentlemen, if we can please follow the procession in. Colton will lead it, followed by the color guard and dignitaries. Right on, let's go.